What is going on, guys? So if you're watching this video, obviously you're probably going to be talking to a recruiter sometime soon, or maybe you're in the process of doing that. But in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the things that you definitely shouldn't say whenever you go and talk to a recruiter. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about that I hear a lot, I think people kind of brag about it sometimes whenever they talk about their experience joining the military, and in my opinion, this is something that you should definitely not do, and that is you go into a recruiter's office, you get your initial thing out of the way, you set up your appointment to go talk to a recruiter, you go sit down, and they're like, what do you want to talk about? And you tell your recruiter, I just want to shoot guns. I just want to blow up stuff. I just want to do cool things. 99% of the time, obviously the recruiter's going to look at you and see if you're physically capable enough, like right now, to do that. And they're going to be like, great, we're going to sign you up for infantry, and we're just going to send you out the door, as soon as you could possibly go. And then that's just done deal. That's what they're gonna do. The reason that I say not to do that is because if you're walking into a recruiter's office and all you say is you just want to like shoot guns and just do cool stuff, there's several different MOSs that meet that description that you're looking for, but most of the time they're gonna, like I said, sign you up for infantry. So you need to kind of do your research and kind of figure out what it is actually that you want to do. Do you want to actually blow up stuff and breach through doors and learn how to do some of that? You can be like a combat engineer if you really just want to shoot some things, and I guess you could go infantry, or you can look into some of the different field artillery MOSs, right? Some of the different 13 series MOSs, or you can look into several different other jobs if you want to go ranger, or if you are wanting to go special forces, if that's something that you're seeing interested in doing. But if you just go in and just say, hey, I just want to shoot some stuff, most recruiters are probably just gonna be like, hey, infantry, all right, sign you up. And if you don't say anything else besides that, then you're just gonna get infantry. You might not get a bonus. You might not get other different schools that you wanna go to because you're not really asking the proper questions and coming in prepared. So the next thing that you definitely shouldn't do whenever you go and talk to a recruiter is tell the recruiter that you don't know what you want to do. That's not going to help you out, and that's not going to help the recruiter out, right? The recruiter, there's a plenty of great recruiters out there, and they do want what's best for you. And if you just tell them you don't know what to do, then it's going to be very difficult for them to, figure out what you want to do. Recruiters are going to have all these different MOSs that the Army needs to fill, and if you don't know what you want to do, then most of the time they're just going to put you in one of those MOSs that needs to be filled in the military. And again, if you haven't done your proper research on this stuff, you might be put into an MOS and a job in the military for 4 years or so that you really don't want to do. And in this scenario, you could also be thrown into infantry, and infantry is a whole different beast than all the other different MOSs, right? Or most of the other different MOSs. So, if infantry is not something that you want to do, and you go talk to a recruiter and say, hey, I don't know what I want to do, and they put you in infantry, and then you realize, I don't really like ruck marching all the time. I don't really like, doing FTXs and staying outside all the time. Like, that's not something that I'm really into. Then you're not going to have like the best time ever in the military because you didn't do your due diligence at the beginning and kind of figure out what you want to do. If you have no clue what you want to do, you can look at, like, what do you like doing on the civilian side? Is there anything in the military that correlates to that a little bit? Going to a recruiter's office and then, hey, I got, these 10 different MOSs that I might be interested in. Is that a possibility, right? So that is way better than just going into a recruiter's office and saying, hey, I don't know. So the next thing that you definitely shouldn't say to a recruiter, or just in general, is lie to your recruiter, right? So for all the major big things, right? So if you stubbed your toenail, or if you had some really minor injury or something whenever you were a kid that doesn't affect you at all, then okay, you can just not say, hey, I bumped my elbow whenever I was 5 years old or something. I mean, people go crazy with being worried about telling their recruiters and the whole meth process and things. Like, small things, guys, don't matter, but big things, if you are arrested several times, or if you broke your arm and you have like this big scar and you think you're gonna get away with it, don't lie to your recruiter about obviously those big things, because all it's going to do is prolong your enlistment process. If you have to have a security clearance, especially a top secret security clearance, all of your run-ins with the law and everything like that, your education, your financial history, all that stuff is going to be looked into. So then there's really no reason to lie to your recruiter about that, because eventually it's going to be found out, and if you're trying to join the military, it's not something that you just want to prolong for forever. When you make the decision to join, you want to just kind of go ahead and join. So one of the next things that you definitely don't want to say to a recruiter is say nothing, right? Again, it's not going to help the recruiter out. It's not going to help you out. It kind of goes back to to the other points stuff I talked about, which is just being prepared when you go and talk to a recruiter, right? So don't just like go and talk to this recruiter in the hopes of you're just gonna figure it out, right? You want to do a little bit of planning. You wanna, I guess, watch some videos. You want to, if you wanna go 25 Bravo, I have a video on that, right? If you wanna do any other different MOSs, look that up, kind of see what the heck you actually wanna do, then go and talk to a recruiter. But going into a recruiter's office and not knowing what to say, not having anything to say, not having any goals for what you want to achieve out of the military, not knowing really why you want to join the military, that's not going to help you out at all, right? So going into a recruiter's office, and this happens, and just really not saying anything at all is not going to help you out. It's going to possibly put you in an MOS that you really don't want because you haven't done the research to actually figure out what you might possibly want to do. Because again, guys, this is the military. It's going to be great or it's going to suck. It's going to be one of the two. And this is a big decision. So like, you don't want to go into this huge decision without having done any research, with going into a recruiter's office and saying, hey, I just want to shoot guns. Hey, I don't know what I want to do, or just say nothing because I guess you don't know what you want to do. Now, the next thing that you really shouldn't mention that much if you're talking to a recruiter or ask a whole bunch of questions about, and it's nothing really against recruiters, it's just number one, they don't know as much about the whole officer side of things. And that kind of leads me into what I'm saying is, don't ask them like a whole bunch of questions about the whole path to becoming an officer, because all they really know a lot about is OCS. And then a lot of times recruiters, if you talk to them like, hey, I want to be an officer, they're gonna be like, oh no, being an officer is stupid, right? They're enlisted soldiers, right? A lot of enlisted soldiers, if they've made it up to E6, E7, they just have this thing, it's like enlisted is better than officer, right? And if you're ever enlisted before like I was, and you switch over to being an officer, they're like, oh, you're leaving us, you're leaving us behind, you're switching over to the dark side, things like that. So when you talk to a recruiter, and I got this whenever I talked to my recruiters, and I said that I wanted to be an officer and I wanted to do RTC and all that stuff, they're just like, why do you want to do that, right? So if you do want to be an officer and you do want to enlist first, know that OCS is the way to go. If you want to be an officer and you're thinking of doing ROTC, a recruiter, or most recruiters, are probably not going to know that much about ROTC. They're not going to know how you can enroll into ROTC. They may tell you to go and find your local ROTC, battalion or school that has an ROTC program there, and then contact them. But they're not going to know that much besides that. So if you talk to a recruiter and you ask them different questions about becoming an officer or all this different officer stuff, they may, one, have kind of like a negative light towards like, why would you want to be an officer? Like enlisted is awesome. You're not going to get to do things as an officer. You're going to be a paper pusher. You're going to be just doing all this stuff. And they might try to talk you out of that and instead just enlist, right? Or they might just not know that much about the whole officer route, and then you might just be like, what the heck? Like, why does this recruiter not know anything about the officer stuff? And that's because recruiters, they know stuff about the enlisted stuff. Whenever you want to learn things about ROTC and things like that, you're going to have to go and talk to an ROTC guy, an ROTC recruiter. And if a school, a college like UNCC that I went to, they have a person there that if you want to talk about ROTC and how you can enroll and how you can commission as an officer, that is the person that you want to talk to instead of the Army recruiter. All right, so those are some of the things that you shouldn't say whenever you go and talk to a recruiter. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to check out some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That would be even freaking better. Hit the notification bell button if you want to really make my day. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I will see you later.